Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepless Scientist. Tonight, we're diving beneath the surface of the world's oceans, a place where gravity feels different, where silence hums with life, and where creatures beyond imagination drift, hunt, and dance in waters both sunlit and impossibly dark. We'll explore coral cities and abyssal plains, meet ancient travelers and glowing phantoms, and remind ourselves that most of this planet isn't land at all. It's water, and in that water, stories unfold that are older than mountains, stranger than dreams. So settle in, let your mind descend gently into the deep, and let's explore the vast living ocean together. And just before we begin, if these calm, curious explorations help you unwind or give you a quiet way to end your day, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. The story begins beneath the waves. Close your eyes and imagine the ocean, not as a place to visit, but as a world unto itself, a realm that covers more than 70% of our planet's surface, holding secrets we've only begun to understand. Beneath the waves, life takes shapes that seem impossible. There are creatures with no bones, no eyes, no brains, yet they thrive. There are hunters faster than cheetahs and giants, larger than any dinosaur. The ocean is not one place. It's a layered universe, from sunlit shallows, where light dances on sand, to midnight zones, where no human eye has ever seen. Each layer tells a different story. Each depth holds different rules. And within this blue expanse, life has been experimenting for billions of years, crafting forms and strategies that defy our landlocked imaginations. Tonight, we're guests in that world. We're visitors to a place that existed long before us and will continue long after. So take a breath and let's begin our descent. A planet covered in blue. From space, Earth doesn't look like a planet of land. It looks like a water world, swirled with white clouds and deep blue oceans. The Pacific alone is larger than all the continents combined. The Atlantic, the Indian, the Southern, the Arctic, each one a vast frontier. Together, they hold about 1.335 billion cubic kilometers of water. That's difficult to picture, isn't it? So think of it this way. If you could drain all that water and spread it evenly across the entire planet, the Earth would still be covered by an ocean over 2.5 kilometers deep. This isn't a planet with oceans. This is an ocean planet with islands of rock, and in that ocean, life flourishes in ways we're still discovering. Some scientists believe we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about our own ocean floor. And they're right. The deep sea remains one of the last true wildernesses, a place where every expedition returns with creatures never seen before. Our blue planet hides more mysteries than we've yet dared to ask. The first creatures of the sea. Life didn't begin on land. It began in water, billions of years ago. In warm, shallow seas, the first living cells appeared. They were simple, smaller than a grain of sand, yet they carried something revolutionary, the ability to replicate, to grow, to change. Over unimaginable stretches of time, these single cells became more complex. They learned to work together. They formed colonies, then structures, then bodies. The ocean became a laboratory for evolution, testing countless designs. Some worked, most didn't, but the ones that survived passed on their blueprints to the next generation, and the next, and the next. By the time animals with skeletons appeared, the ocean was already ancient and crowded with life. Trilobites scuttled across seafloors. Ammonites spiraled through open waters. Strange, armored fish patrolled reefs that no human will ever see. Every creature alive today, including us, carries the ocean in its history. Our blood is salty for a reason. We are, in a sense, walking seawater, shaped by tides we left behind. Life born in the ocean. Think about this. Every major group of animals on Earth either lives in the ocean or came from it. Insects, birds, mammals, reptiles. They all trace their lineage back to aquatic ancestors. Even our distant relatives once had gills. The ocean was the cradle of complexity, the place where eyes first evolved, where nervous systems learned to process the world, where limbs that would one day walk on land began as fins. It's humbling, really. We think of ourselves as terrestrial beings, but our bodies remember the sea. When a human embryo develops, it briefly has structures resembling gill slits. Our hands and feet, with their 5 fingers and toes, echo the bone patterns of ancient fish fins. The ocean didn't just create life, it invented the toolkit that all life would use. And while some creatures ventured onto land and into the skies, the ocean kept innovating, kept experimenting, kept producing forms that seem almost alien. The story of life is a story written in salt water, and every chapter begins beneath the waves. The ancient origins of marine life. If you could travel back 540 million years, you'd witness something extraordinary: the Cambrian explosion. In a relatively brief period, geologically speaking, the ocean suddenly filled with complex animals. Creatures with shells, eyes, claws, and spines appeared seemingly out of nowhere. It was as if evolution hit fast forward. Scientists still debate why it happened. Was it a change in ocean chemistry? An arms race between predators and prey? Whatever the cause, the result was a flourishing of diversity that set the stage for everything that followed. Many of those early animals are gone now, their fossil forms so strange we struggle to understand how they lived. But their descendants remain. The humble horseshoe crab, for instance, has barely changed in 450 million years. It's a living link to an ancient ocean, a reminder that some designs are so successful they need no improvement. The sea remembers its past in ways the land cannot. Every wave carries echoes of those first explosions of life, those first experiments in being alive. The web of life beneath the surface. The ocean isn't just a collection of individual creatures. It's a web, interconnected and interdependent. Every organism plays a role, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale. Remove one thread, and the whole tapestry shifts. Consider the relationship between plankton and whales. Tiny drifting organisms feed small fish, which feed larger fish, which feed seals, which are hunted by orcas. But the whales themselves feed the plankton too. When they defecate, they release nutrients back into the water, fertilizing the very base of the food chain. It's a circle, elegant and ancient. The same is true for coral reefs, kelp forests, and deep-sea vents. Each ecosystem is a conversation between species, a negotiation that's been ongoing for millions of years. Humans often think of nature as competition, survival of the fittest, but the ocean teaches a different lesson: survival of the connected. Everything depends on everything else. And when we disrupt one part of the web, we disrupt the whole. The diversity of the shallow seas, the shallowest waters of the ocean, are the most crowded with life. Here, sunlight penetrates, fueling photosynthesis and feeding an explosion of productivity. Kelp forests sway like underwater jungles, providing shelter for fish, invertebrates, and marine mammals. Seagrass meadows carpet the floor, nurseries for countless species. Rocky reefs burst with color and movement. In these zones, competition is fierce, space is limited, food is abundant, but so are mouths to feed it. Yet somehow, thousands of species coexist. They've divided the environment into niches, so specific it's almost miraculous. One fish eats algae off rocks. Another hunts tiny crustaceans in the sand. A third patrols open water for schools of prey. Even within a single square meter of reef, you might find dozens of species, each with its own role, its own way of making a living. The shallow seas are proof that biodiversity isn't chaos. It's order refined over eons. It's a masterpiece painted with life. The coral reefs, cities of life. Coral reefs are often called the rainforests of the sea, and for good reason. Though they cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, they support around 25% of all marine species. That's astonishing. These structures, built by tiny animals called polyps, create habitats so rich and complex, they rival any ecosystem on land. Each coral polyp is a simple creature, soft-bodied and vulnerable. But together, secreting calcium carbonate skeletons, they build fortresses that endure for centuries. Fish dart between branches, shrimp hide in crevices, eels slip through tunnels, sharks patrol the edges, and at night, the reef transforms. Nocturnal hunters emerge, bioluminescent flashes signal and deceive. Corals themselves extend their tentacles to feed on plankton drifting by. Reefs are ancient. Some have been growing for thousands of years. They've survived ice ages and volcanic eruptions, but today, they face threats they've never encountered before. Warming waters cause bleaching. Pollution smothers them. Overfishing disrupts the balance. Yet they persist, still building, still sheltering life. The reefs are cities, and we must learn to be better neighbors. The tiny plankton that feed the world. Look closely at a drop of seawater. Under a microscope, it's teeming. Phytoplankton, microscopic plants, drift in numbers beyond counting. They're so small, so invisible. It's easy to forget they exist. But they're the foundation of the ocean's food web. These tiny organisms perform photosynthesis, just like trees, and in doing so, they produce more than half of the oxygen we breathe. Yes, more than all the forests on land combined. Every other breath you take, you owe to plankton. They also feed zooplankton, tiny animals that in turn feed fish, which feed bigger fish, and so on up the chain. Without plankton, the ocean would be a desert. Whales would starve. Fisheries would collapse. Even the chemistry of the atmosphere would change. And here's something even more remarkable. When plankton die, they sink, carrying carbon down to the deep sea, where it's locked away for centuries. They're not just feeding the ocean, they're cooling the planet. These microscopic specks are climate regulators, oxygen factories, and the base of all marine abundance. Never underestimate the small. The grace of jellyfish. Jellyfish are ancient, elegant, and utterly strange. They have no brain, no heart, no bones. They're more water than flesh. Some species consisting of up to 95% water, yet they thrive. They've been drifting through the oceans for over 500 million years, long before fish, long before sharks. Their bodies are simple. A bell-shaped dome and trailing tentacles lined with stinging cells called nematocysts. When prey brushes against these tentacles, the cells fire tiny harpoons that inject venom. It's efficient, deadly. Jellyfish don't chase their food. They wait, pulsing gently through the water, letting the current bring meals to them. Some are tiny, no bigger than a fingernail. Others, like the lion's mane jellyfish, can have tentacles over 30 meters long. Despite their simplicity, they're survivors. They thrive in polluted waters where other creatures struggle. They bloom in huge numbers when conditions are right, transforming bays into shimmering, pulsing fields. Watching a jellyfish is meditative. There's something calming in their slow, rhythmic movement, as if they're breathing with the ocean itself. The drift of transparent creatures. Many creatures in the open ocean have evolved a clever form of camouflage. Transparency. If you can't hide behind rocks or bury yourself in sand, the next best option is to disappear entirely. Transparent jellyfish, comb jellies, larval fish, and even some squid have bodies you can see right through. It's like looking at living glass. This adaptation is especially common in the upper layers of the ocean, where light is plentiful. Down there, being invisible means survival. Predators can't see you, and prey won't flee, but transparency is harder to achieve than it sounds. Most tissues scatter light, making them opaque. To become see-through, an organism must have a body with minimal pigments, thin layers, and a structure that lets light pass without bending it too much. It's a biological marvel. And when sunlight strikes these creatures just right, they shimmer, refracting rainbows, turning the invisible visible. For just a moment, they remind us that the ocean is full of ghosts, drifting silently, seen only when the light betrays them. The beauty of sea anemones. At first glance, a sea anemone looks like a flower. Its tentacles wave gently in the current, soft and inviting, often brilliantly colored in reds, purples, greens. But it's not a plant, it's an animal, and a predator at that. Those pretty tentacles are lined with stinging cells, the same kind jellyfish use. When a small fish or shrimp brushes against them, the anemone strikes, paralyzing its prey and drawing it toward a central mouth. Anemones are remarkably simple creatures. They have no brain, no skeleton, just a sac with a mouth surrounded by tentacles. Yet they've mastered their niche. They anchor themselves to rocks or coral, sometimes living for decades in the same spot. Some species form symbiotic relationships with clownfish, which are immune to their stings. The fish get protection, and the anemone gets scraps of food and cleaning services. It's a partnership that works. Watching an anemone feed is strangely mesmerizing. There's a patience to it, a stillness, as if the creature is meditating, waiting for the ocean to deliver its next meal. The hidden world of sponges. Sponges are easy to overlook. They sit motionless on the seafloor, looking more like rocks or plants than animals. But they are animals, and incredibly successful ones. Sponges have been around for at least 600 million years, making them some of the oldest multicellular organisms on Earth. They have no mouth, no stomach, no organs at all. Instead, they're made of a network of pores and channels. Water flows through them constantly, filtered by specialized cells that capture bacteria and organic particles. A single sponge can filter thousands of liters of water every day. That's not just feeding, that's cleaning the ocean. Sponges come in endless shapes and colors: tubes, barrels, vases, crusts. Some glow in the dark. Others produce chemicals so toxic they're used in cancer research. And despite their simplicity, they can regenerate. Cut a sponge into pieces, and each piece can grow into a new sponge. They're ancient, resilient, and essential. The ocean would be murkier without them, quietly filtering, quietly enduring. The life of crabs and lobsters. Crabs and lobsters belong to a group called crustaceans, armored creatures that have conquered nearly every marine environment. They scuttle along sandy bottoms, hide in rocky crevices, and even thrive in the deep sea. Their hard exoskeletons protect them from predators and the crushing pressure of the depths. But there's a trade-off to grow. They must molt, shedding their old shell and forming a new, larger one. During this time, they're vulnerable, soft-bodied, and defenseless. It's a dangerous process, but necessary. Crabs are wonderfully diverse. Some have claws so large they dwarf their bodies. Others have legs so long they look like underwater spiders. Hermit crabs, lacking a hard shell of their own, borrow empty snail shells and carry them around like mobile homes. Lobsters, on the other hand, can live for decades, some reaching ages of over 50 years. They're survivors, methodical and patient. Watching a crab walk sideways across the ocean floor is oddly charming. There's a determination to it, a no-nonsense attitude, as if the crab has places to be and no time for nonsense. The builders of the ocean floor. The ocean floor isn't a barren desert. It's shaped and sculpted by the creatures that live there. Worms burrow through sediment, aerating it, and recycling nutrients. Clams and mussels filter water and anchor themselves in the sand. Sea urchins graze on algae, preventing overgrowth and maintaining balance. Even the smallest organisms, bacteria and archaea, break down organic matter and return it to the ecosystem. These builders and recyclers are the unsung heroes of the ocean. They don't capture our attention the way sharks or dolphins do, but without them, the entire system would collapse. Dead matter would accumulate, sediments would become toxic, the cycle of life would stall. The ocean floor is not empty space. It's a workshop, constantly being reworked, reshaped, renewed, and the creatures that live there, often hidden from view, are the ones keeping the whole system running. They're the maintenance crew, the architects, the engineers, and they've been at it for millions of years, long before humans ever looked beneath the waves. The strange armor of mollusks. Mollusks are an incredibly diverse group. Snails, clams, oysters, squids, octopuses. What unites them is a shared ancestry, and in many cases, a shell. That shell is both home and fortress, built layer by layer from calcium carbonate, secreted by the animal's mantle. Some shells are smooth and sleek, others are ridged, spiny, or brilliantly colored. They're works of art, functional and beautiful. Inside, the mollusk lives a life dictated by its armor. Clams filter food from water, their shells clamping shut at the first sign of danger. Snails glide slowly across surfaces, rasping algae with a tongue-like structure called a radula. Oysters cement themselves to rocks, forming reefs of their own. And then there are the mollusks that abandon the shell altogether. Squids and octopuses traded armor for speed and intelligence. They became soft, flexible, fast. It was a gamble, but it paid off. Mollusks remind us that evolution doesn't follow a single path. Armor works. So does mobility. The ocean has room for both. The intelligence of octopuses. Octopuses are among the most intelligent invertebrates on the planet. They can solve puzzles, open jars, recognize individual humans, and even use tools. Their brains are large and complex, but distributed in a way unlike ours. Each of their 8 arms has a cluster of neurons, essentially a mini-brain that can act independently. An octopus arm can taste, touch, and make decisions on its own, while the central brain focuses on bigger tasks. It's a radically different kind of intelligence, one that evolves separately from vertebrates. Octopuses are also masters of camouflage. Their skin is covered in specialized cells called chromatophores that can change color and texture in an instant. They can mimic rocks, coral, even other animals. Some species use this ability to hunt, others use it to hide, and a few, like the mimic octopus, impersonate dangerous creatures to scare off predators. Despite their smarts, octopuses are solitary and short-lived. Most live only 1 to 2 years. They're brief, brilliant flames in the ocean's long, slow-burning story. The color-changing cuttlefish. Cuttlefish are relatives of octopuses and squids, but they've taken color changing to an extreme. Their skin is a living screen, capable of producing patterns and colors so vivid and complex, they seem almost psychedelic. They use this ability to communicate, to hunt, and to hide. A cuttlefish can ripple waves of color across its body, hypnotizing prey before striking with lightning-fast tentacles. It can split its body into 2 patterns, showing one side to a rival and another to a potential mate. It can even produce stripes, spots, and textures that perfectly match the seafloor. And here's the fascinating part. Cuttlefish are colorblind. They can't see the colors they create. Scientists believe they perceive color through some other mechanism, perhaps by sensing light with their skin. Cuttlefish are also incredibly intelligent. They can learn by watching other cuttlefish and remember solutions to problems. Their eyes, large and expressive, track movement with eerie precision. Watching a cuttlefish move through the water is like watching art in motion, a creature both alien and mesmerizing. The tentacled hunters of the deep. Squid are among the ocean's most effective predators, sleek, fast, and equipped with long tentacles lined with suction cups and hooks. They're built for the hunt. Most squid are relatively small, but some species reach staggering sizes. The giant squid, once thought to be myth, can grow longer than a school bus. The colossal squid, found in the deep Antarctic waters, has eyes the size of dinner plates. the largest in the animal kingdom. Squid hunt in different ways, depending on the species. Some ambush prey in the dark. Others chase schools of fish in open water. They have jet propulsion, shooting water through a siphon to dart forward or backward at speed. They also have beaks, sharp and powerful, hidden among their tentacles. These beaks can crack shells and tear flesh. Despite their fearsome reputation, squid are prey too. Whales, seals, and large fish hunt them relentlessly. In the ocean, every hunter is also hunted. It's a balance maintained by hunger, survival, and the endless turning wheel of predation. The slow wanderers, sea slugs and nudibranchs. Sea slugs, also called nudibranchs, are the butterflies of the sea. They drift slowly across reefs and rocks, their soft bodies adorned with brilliant colors and fantastical shapes. Some look like feathered fans, others resemble jeweled ribbons or tiny dragons. These creatures have no shell, no armor, but they don't need it. Their bright colors are a warning. Many nudibranchs are toxic. Some even steal the stinging cells from the jellyfish and anemones they eat, storing them in their own tissues and using them for defense. It's biological theft, elegant and effective. Nudibranchs are also hermaphrodites, possessing both male and female reproductive organs. When two nudibranchs meet, they often mate simultaneously, each fertilizing the other. Watching a nudibranch move is almost meditative. They glide slowly, gracefully, as if the world can wait, and perhaps for them, it can. They're in no hurry. They've evolved to be beautiful, toxic, and untouchable. The ocean rewards many strategies, and sometimes, slowness is one of them. The dance of schools of fish. There's something hypnotic about watching a school of fish move, thousands of individuals, yet they turn, dive, and swirl as one. It looks choreographed, but there's no leader. Each fish follows simple rules. Stay close to your neighbors, match their speed, avoid collisions. From these simple rules, complexity emerges. The school behaves like a single organism, confusing predators and creating the illusion of size. A lone fish is vulnerable. A school is a fortress. Scientists have studied fish schools for decades, trying to understand the mathematics behind the movement. It's related to something called emergent behavior, where simple interactions create complex patterns. Starlings do it in the sky, ants do it underground, fish do it in the water. It's a reminder that intelligence isn't always centralized. Sometimes it's distributed, collective, a wisdom of the group. Watching a school shift and shimmer in the light is like watching liquid silver, alive and purposeful. Its beauty born from cooperation. The brilliant colors of coral fish. Coral reefs are bursting with color, and much of that comes from the fish. Electric blues, neon yellows, vibrant purples. Reef fish wear their colors boldly. But why? On land, bright colors often attract predators. In the reef, they serve different purposes. Some colors are warnings, signaling toxicity or bad taste. Others are for communication, helping fish recognize their own species or establish territory. And some are simply camouflage. In the riot of color that is a coral reef, bright patterns can actually help a fish blend in. Then there's the matter of courtship. Males often display brilliant colors to attract mates, proving their health and fitness. The more vibrant the color, the better the genes. Reef fish also have complex social lives. Cleaner fish set up stations where larger fish come to have parasites removed. Clownfish live in harems dominated by a single female. Wrasses change sex as they age. The reef is a stage, and its inhabitants play their parts in costumes of living light. The fastest swimmers in the sea. Speed in the ocean is survival, and no fish is faster than the sailfish. With a streamlined body and a powerful tail, it can reach speeds of nearly 110 kilometers per hour. It uses its long, pointed bill to slash through schools of prey, stunning or injuring fish before circling back to eat them. Close behind are marlins, tunas, and the famous great white shark, all built for speed. These fish have hydrodynamic bodies, every curve and fin optimized to reduce drag. Their muscles are packed with power, fueled by constant hunting and high-energy diets. Tuna, for instance, are perpetual motion machines. They can't stop swimming, or they'll suffocate, as water must flow constantly over their gills. So they cross entire oceans, chasing food, following currents, never resting. Watching a fast fish move is thrilling. There's no wasted motion, no hesitation, just pure focused power. In the open ocean, where there's nowhere to hide, speed is everything. And evolution has sculpted these creatures into living torpedoes, built to chase, to flee, to survive. The silent hunters, sharks. Sharks are older than trees. They've been swimming the oceans for over 400 million years, surviving mass extinctions that wiped out most other life. They're perfectly adapted predators, equipped with keen senses and powerful bodies. Their skeletons are made of cartilage, lighter and more flexible than bone. Their skin is covered in tiny tooth-like scales that reduce drag, and their teeth, rows and rows of them, are continuously replaced throughout their lives. A single shark can go through tens of thousands of teeth. Sharks hunt in different ways depending on the species. Great whites ambush seals from below, using speed and surprise. Hammerheads sweep their wide heads across the seafloor, detecting buried prey with electroreceptors. Tiger sharks are opportunists, eating almost anything. Despite their reputation, sharks rarely attack humans. We're not on their menu. Most bites are cases of mistaken identity. Sharks are far more threatened by us than we are by them. Every year, tens of millions are killed for their fins. These ancient hunters, survivors of eons, now face a threat they can't outswim us. The gentle giants, the whale sharks. Not all sharks are fearsome hunters. The whale shark, the largest fish in the sea, is a gentle giant. It can grow over 12 meters long, yet it feeds on some of the smallest creatures, plankton, krill, and tiny fish. It swims slowly through the water, with its enormous mouth open, filtering food through specialized structures called gill rakers. It's like a living net, harmless and serene. Whale sharks are solitary and mysterious. Scientists still don't know where they breed or how long they live. They appear in tropical waters, often near coral reefs, and then vanish into the open ocean. Divers who encounter them describe the experience as awe-inspiring. Swimming beside a whale shark, you feel small, humbled, aware of the ocean's immensity. Despite their size, whale sharks are vulnerable. They're slow-growing and reproduce infrequently. Boat strikes, fishing nets, and habitat loss threaten their populations. Protecting them means protecting the oceans they travel, the plankton they feed on, and the balance of the ecosystems they inhabit. Gentle giants deserve gentle stewardship. The mystery of rays and mantas. Rays are sharks' closest relatives, but they've taken a different form. Instead of streamlined hunters, they became gliders, flattening their bodies and expanding their fins into wings. They soar through the water, like birds through air, graceful and unhurried. Stingrays bury themselves in sand, waiting for prey to pass overhead. Eagle rays cruise open water, flapping their fins in slow rhythmic beats. And then there are manta rays, the largest of all, with wingspans reaching over 7 meters. Mantas are filter feeders, like whale sharks, sweeping up plankton as they glide. They're intelligent, curious, and social, often swimming in groups. Divers report that mantas seem to recognize them, returning again and again, sometimes even playing. Rays have a unique way of reproducing. Instead of laying eggs, many species give live birth. The mother nourishes her young inside her body, sometimes for over a year. It's a slow, energy-intensive process, but it gives the pups a better chance at survival. Watching a manta ray glide past is like watching flight underwater, effortless and eternal. The ancient lineage of sharks. Sharks have seen it all. They swam in oceans, when the supercontinent Pangaea was still whole. They witnessed the rise and fall of the dinosaurs. They survived the asteroid impact that ended the Cretaceous. Their success lies in their adaptability. Sharks have diversified into over 500 species, each suited to a different niche. Some live in shallow reefs, others prowl the open ocean, a few even venture into rivers. The Greenland shark, found in Arctic waters, can live for over 400 years, making it one of the longest-lived vertebrates on Earth. It moves slowly through the cold, dark depths, feeding on fish and carrion. Sharks have evolved incredible senses. They can detect electrical fields produced by the muscles of prey, a sense called electroreception. They can smell a single drop of blood in an Olympic-sized pool. They can sense vibrations in the water from great distances. Despite millions of years of success, sharks now face rapid decline. Their slow reproduction makes recovery difficult. We're losing species faster than we can study them. The ancient lineage of sharks deserves better. The circle of predation and balance. In the ocean, predation isn't cruelty, it's balance. Predators keep prey populations in check, preventing overgrazing and collapse. Prey, in turn, force predators to stay sharp, fast, and efficient. This constant push and pull shapes ecosystems. Remove the predators, and the system unravels. Sea urchins, unchecked by otters, can devour entire kelp forests. Jellyfish, without fish to eat their young, can bloom in overwhelming numbers. Scientists call this a trophic cascade, where changes at the top of the food chain ripple downward, affecting everything. The ocean is a finely tuned machine. Every species, from apex predators to microscopic plankton, plays a role. Humans, unfortunately, disrupt this balance. Overfishing removes key species. Pollution weakens entire ecosystems. Climate change alters temperatures and currents. The circle of predation has endured for millions of years, but it's not indestructible. It requires all its pieces. When one is lost, the whole circle wobbles. Protecting predators means protecting the ocean itself. The architects of coral reefs. Coral reefs are built by tiny architects. Coral polyps. Each polyp is a small, soft-bodied animal, no bigger than a fingernail. But working together, secreting calcium carbonate skeletons, they construct structures that can be seen from space. The Great Barrier Reef, stretching over 2,300 kilometers, is the largest living structure on Earth. It's been growing for thousands of years, layer upon layer, generation after generation. Corals aren't alone in their construction. Algae called zooxanthellae live inside their tissues, providing them with food through photosynthesis. In return, the coral offers shelter. It's a partnership so essential that without the algae, most corals would starve. This relationship, however, is fragile. When water temperatures rise, corals expel their algae, turning white in a process called bleaching. Without their partners, they weaken and often die. Coral reefs support countless species, protect coastlines from storms, and provide livelihoods for millions of people. Yet, we're losing them at alarming rates. These ancient architects need our protection. Their blueprints are irreplaceable. The protectors of the seagrass meadows. Seagrass meadows don't get the attention. Coral reefs do, but they're just as important. These underwater meadows cover vast areas of the ocean floor, providing food and shelter for countless species. Sea turtles graze on them. Fish hide among their blades. Seahorses cling to them, swaying with the current. Seagrasses are flowering plants, not algae, which means they evolved on land and returned to the sea. They have roots, stems, and leaves, and they produce oxygen through photosynthesis. They also capture carbon, storing it in the sediment below. In fact, seagrass meadows are among the most effective carbon sinks on the planet, sequestering carbon far more efficiently than forests. Protecting them helps slow climate change. Seagrass meadows also stabilize the seafloor, preventing erosion and keeping the water clear. Yet they're threatened by coastal development, pollution, and warming waters. When seagrass dies, Entire ecosystems collapse. The creatures that depend on them vanish. The carbon they stored is released. These quiet meadows are protectors, and they need protection in return. The secret lives of sea turtles. Sea turtles are ancient mariners. They've been swimming the oceans for over 100 million years, longer than most modern marine species. There are 7 species, each with its own behaviors and habitats. Green turtles graze on seagrass. Loggerheads hunt jellyfish and crustaceans. Leatherbacks dive to incredible depths, feeding on jellyfish in the open ocean. Sea turtles spend most of their lives at sea, but they must return to land to lay their eggs. Females come ashore on the same beaches where they were born, sometimes traveling thousands of kilometers to get there. How they navigate such distances is still a mystery. Scientists believe they use the Earth's magnetic field, following invisible lines like a compass. Once on the beach, the female digs a nest, lays her eggs, and returns to the sea. She'll never see her offspring. The hatchlings, once they emerge, face a perilous journey to the water, dodging predators at every step. Most won't survive. Those that do will spend decades at sea before returning to the same beach to continue the cycle, the journey across oceans. Migration is one of nature's great wonders, and the ocean is full of migrants. Whales travel from polar feeding grounds to tropical breeding waters. Salmon navigate from freshwater rivers to the open sea and back again. Eels born in the Sargasso Sea drift across the Atlantic and grow in European rivers before returning to spawn. These journeys are epic, often spanning thousands of kilometers. They require incredible endurance, precise navigation, and perfect timing. Many animals migrate to follow food. Others travel to breed in safer waters. The Arctic tern, though a bird, holds the migration record. It flies from pole to pole and back each year, covering over 70,000 kilometers. Marine animals face different challenges. They must navigate using currents, temperature gradients, and magnetic fields. They must avoid predators and find food along the way. Some migrations are solitary. Others happen in vast groups, thousands of individuals moving together. Migration connects ecosystems. Nutrients are transported from one region to another. Predators follow prey. The ocean's highways are invisible but vital, pathways etched in instinct and refined over millennia. These journeys remind us that the ocean isn't divided into separate zones. It's connected, fluid, constantly in motion, and the creatures within it are travelers, forever seeking, forever returning. The hatchlings and their great migration. When sea turtle hatchlings emerge from the sand, they face one of nature's most dangerous gauntlets. They're tiny, vulnerable, barely the size of a coin. Above them, seabirds circle, crabs wait at the water's edge. Even as they reach the surf, fish gather to pick them off. Only about 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will survive to adulthood, but those that make it begin an extraordinary journey. Young sea turtles drift on ocean currents for years, riding gyres that carry them across entire ocean basins. During this time, they feed, grow, and somehow remember where home is. Scientists call these early years the lost years, because tracking such small animals in the vast ocean is nearly impossible. Eventually, the survivors return to coastal waters, mature, and begin the cycle again. The great migration of sea turtles is both a beginning and a test, a journey written into their biology. Watching hatchlings scramble toward the sea is heartbreaking and hopeful. Each one carries the ocean's future in its tiny, determined body. The singing whales of the deep. Whales sing. It's one of the most beautiful and mysterious phenomena in the ocean. Humpback whales, in particular, produce long, complex songs that can last up to 20 minutes and be heard over vast distances. These songs change over time, evolving within populations like cultural traditions. Scientists believe they're used for mating, communication, or both. Male humpbacks are the primary singers, often performing during breeding season, but the exact purpose remains unclear. Other whales vocalize too. Blue whales produce low-frequency calls, so deep they're below the range of human hearing. These calls can travel across entire ocean basins, allowing whales to communicate over thousands of kilometers. Orcas use clicks, whistles, and pulsed calls, each pod having its own dialect. Sperm whales produce the loudest sounds of any animal, clicks so powerful they can stun prey. The ocean is anything but silent. It hums, buzzes, and sings with the voices of whales, a symphony we're only beginning to understand. Listening to whale song is haunting. It reminds us that intelligence and culture aren't unique to humans. The ocean has its own languages, older and stranger than ours. The largest animal to ever live. The blue whale is not just the largest animal in the ocean, it's the largest animal that has ever lived on Earth. Bigger than any dinosaur. An adult blue whale can reach lengths of over 30 meters and weigh up to 200 tons. Its heart alone is the size of a small car. Its tongue weighs as much as an elephant. Despite this immense size, blue whales feed on some of the smallest creatures. Krill. They consume up to 4 tons of krill per day, filtering them from the water with baleen plates. Blue whales migrate vast distances, moving between feeding grounds in polar waters and breeding areas in the tropics. They're mostly solitary, though sometimes they're seen in small groups. Their calls, deep and resonant, are among the loudest sounds produced by any animal. These giants, once numbered in the hundreds of thousands, whaling reduced their population to just a few thousand. They're recovering slowly, but they're still endangered. A world without blue whales would be a quieter, smaller world. Their survival is a measure of the ocean's health, and ours. The intelligence of dolphins. Dolphins are among the smartest animals on the planet. They have large, complex brains. They recognize themselves in mirrors. They use tools, and they have distinct personalities. Bottlenose dolphins, the most studied species, live in social groups called pods. Within these pods, relationships are intricate. Dolphins form friendships, alliances, and rivalries. Mothers teach their young hunting techniques that vary from region to region, a form of culture. In some areas, dolphins use sponges to protect their snouts while foraging on the seafloor. In others, they create mud rings to trap fish. Dolphins communicate using clicks, whistles, and body language. Each dolphin has a signature whistle, essentially a name that others use to call them. They can mimic sounds and even learn simple human gestures. Their playfulness is legendary. They surf waves, ride boat wakes, and play with seaweed for no apparent reason other than fun. Dolphins remind us that intelligence isn't just about survival. It's also about joy, curiosity, and connection. They're proof that the ocean is full of minds, not just bodies. The language of the ocean mammals. Marine mammals don't just make noise. They communicate. Whales, dolphins, and seals use vocalizations to coordinate hunts, warn of danger, attract mates, and maintain social bonds. The complexity of their communication suggests something approaching language. Dolphins, for instance, can convey information about objects, locations, and actions through specific sequences of clicks and whistles. Orcas have dialects, with each pod using a unique set of calls. Calves learn these calls from their mothers, and over time, the dialect can change, passed down like oral tradition. Humpback whales not only sing, but seem to compose new songs, introducing phrases that spread through populations. Researchers have recorded songs changing across years, suggesting cultural evolution. Even seals vocalize, especially during breeding season, with males performing elaborate underwater displays. The ocean is a soundscape, layered and rich. What we hear as random noise is likely structured communication. We're eavesdropping on conversations we don't fully understand. The more we listen, the more we realize the ocean is alive with voices, telling stories we're only beginning to translate. The social life of orcas. Orcas, or killer whales, are apex predators with complex social lives. They live in tight-knit family groups called pods, led by matriarchs. These groups can stay together for life, with multiple generations traveling and hunting as one. Each pod has its own culture, including unique vocalizations, hunting strategies, and even food preferences. Some pods specialize in hunting fish, others target seals, sea lions, or even other whales. This specialization is learned, passed from mothers to calves. Orcas that hunt seals in Patagonia deliberately beach themselves to catch prey on shore, a risky technique that requires teaching and practice. Those that hunt in the Antarctic use waves to wash seals off ice floes. Orcas are also highly playful and curious. They've been observed playing with their food, tossing seals into the air, though scientists debate whether this is play or practice. Despite their name, killer whales aren't a threat to humans in the wild. There are no recorded attacks. They're intelligent, social, and formidable. The ocean's top predators, ruling the seas with strategy and strength. The playfulness of seals and sea lions. Seals and sea lions are the ocean's acrobats, sleek and agile in the water. They're clumsy and charming on land. Sea lions, with their external ear flaps and ability to rotate their hind flippers, can walk on shore. Seals, lacking these features, must wriggle and bounce. But in the water, both are masters. They twist, spin, dive, and leap with effortless grace. Seals hunt fish, squid, and crustaceans, using their whiskers to detect vibrations in the water. Their large eyes are adapted for low light, allowing them to hunt in murky or deep waters. Sea lions are social, gathering in noisy colonies on beaches and rocks. Males are much larger than females and compete fiercely for mates, barking and fighting to establish dominance. Despite their bulk on land, they're surprisingly fast swimmers, capable of reaching speeds of 40 kilometers per hour. Watching seals play is delightful. They chase each other, surf waves, and seem to genuinely enjoy the water. It's a reminder that animals experience joy, that life isn't just survival. Sometimes, it's simply about being alive. The hidden hunters beneath the ice. The polar oceans, both Arctic and Antarctic, are among the harshest environments on Earth, yet they teem with life. Beneath the ice, predators hunt in near-freezing waters. Leopard seals patrol the Antarctic, ambushing penguins and other seals with terrifying efficiency. They're solitary hunters, powerful and fast, with jaws capable of crushing bone. In the Arctic, polar bears hunt seals from above the ice, while below orcas and belugas navigate the frigid waters. These hunters have adapted to the cold in remarkable ways. Thick layers of blubber insulate them. Specialized blood flow prevents heat loss. Leopard seals, despite their fearsome reputation, are also curious. Divers have reported being approached by them, offered penguin kills as if in offering or play. The polar oceans are less diverse than tropical seas, but the life that thrives there is uniquely adapted and resilient. These hidden hunters remind us that even in the coldest, darkest corners of the ocean, life finds a way to not just survive, but flourish. The masters of camouflage. In the ocean, visibility can mean death, so creatures have evolved astonishing ways to disappear. Camouflage comes in many forms. Some animals match their background, like flounder, which can change color and pattern to blend seamlessly with sand or gravel. Others use disruptive coloration, bold patterns that break up their body outline, making them harder to recognize. Cuttlefish and octopuses are the undisputed masters, able to change not just color but texture, mimicking rocks, coral, even seaweed. Then there's transparency, used by jellyfish and larval fish to become invisible in open water. Silvery scales, common in fish like herring, reflect light and create a mirror effect, making the fish hard to see from below. Some creatures go further, using bioluminescence to match the faint light filtering from above, erasing their shadows. Camouflage isn't just for prey. Predators use it too, hiding in plain sight before striking. The ocean is a game of seeing and not being seen, and evolution has crafted countless ways to play. Every shadow, every flicker could be a creature, watching, waiting. The mimicry of sea creatures. Some ocean animals don't just blend in, they pretend to be something else entirely. The mimic octopus, discovered relatively recently, can impersonate over 15 different species, including lionfish, flatfish, and sea snakes. It changes shape, color, and behavior depending on the threat. When approached by a predator that fears sea snakes, it flattens its body and glides across the seafloor, mimicking the snake's movement. Facing a different threat, it might puff up and spread its arms to resemble a lionfish. This kind of mimicry is called Batesian mimicry, where a harmless species imitates a dangerous one. Other creatures use aggressive mimicry, pretending to be prey to lure in predators. The alligator snapping turtle has a worm-like appendage in its mouth that it wiggles to attract fish. Anglerfish dangle glowing lures to draw prey close. These strategies are evolutionary masterpieces, requiring precise imitation and timing. The ocean rewards deception. Mimicry is survival through disguise, a performance where the audience is life and death. The invisible defenses of the ocean. Not all defenses are visible. The ocean is full of creatures armed with toxins, venoms, and chemical weapons. Pufferfish contain tetrodotoxin, a poison so deadly that a single fish can kill dozens of humans. Yet in Japan, it's considered a delicacy, carefully prepared by trained chefs. Cone snails fire venomous harpoons at prey and predators alike. Their venom is so potent, it can paralyze a human in minutes. Blue-ringed octopuses, small and beautiful, carry enough venom to kill 26 people. Sea snakes produce venom more toxic than any land snake. Even some fish, like stonefish, have venomous spines that blend perfectly with rocks. These defenses are chemical shields, invisible until triggered. Many toxic creatures are brightly colored. A warning: don't touch, don't eat. It's called aposematism, advertising danger. The ocean has taught its inhabitants that sometimes the best defense isn't armor or speed, it's poison, and those who ignore the warnings rarely get a second chance. The power of bioluminescence. In the deep ocean, where sunlight never reaches, creatures make their own light. Bioluminescence is the production and emission of light by living organisms, and it's incredibly common in the sea. Jellyfish glow, squid flash, fish shimmer, even some bacteria produce light. The purposes are varied. Some use it to attract prey, dangling glowing lures into the darkness. Others use it to communicate, signaling mates or coordinating with groups. Many use it for camouflage, a trick called counter-illumination. By producing light on their underside that matches the faint glow from above, they erase their shadow, becoming invisible to predators below. Still others use bioluminescence to startle or confuse attackers, flashing brightly to disorient before fleeing into the dark. The chemistry behind it involves a molecule called luciferin and an enzyme called luciferin. When combined with oxygen, they produce light with almost no heat. It's efficient, beautiful, and essential in the deep sea. Bioluminescence transforms the abyss into a galaxy, a universe of living stars drifting in endless night. The glow of lanternfish in the dark. Lanternfish are small, unassuming, and among the most abundant vertebrates on Earth. During the day, they hide in the deep, dark layers of the ocean. At night, they rise to shallower waters to feed, a migration involving billions of individuals. They're named for the light-producing organs, called photophores, that dot their bodies. These lights glow in patterns unique to each species, helping them recognize one another in the dark. Lanternfish use their bioluminescence for counter-illumination, making themselves nearly invisible to predators below. They're a crucial part of the ocean's food web, feeding on plankton, and in turn, being eaten by larger fish, squid, seabirds, and marine mammals. Their nightly migration is one of the largest movements of biomass on the planet. Despite their importance, lanternfish are rarely seen by humans. They live in a world of twilight and darkness, glowing softly, drifting through the ocean's middle layers. They're proof that even the small, the hidden, the unnoticed play vital roles in the vast machinery of life. The enigma of the anglerfish. The anglerfish is one of the ocean's strangest creatures. It lives in the deep sea, where food is scarce, and finding a mate is nearly impossible. The female anglerfish is the one most people recognize. Grotesque, with a huge mouth, full of needle-like teeth, and a bioluminescent lure dangling from her forehead. She uses this lure to attract prey, wiggling it like bait. When a curious fish comes close, she strikes, swallowing it whole. Her stomach can expand to accommodate prey larger than herself. But the male anglerfish is even stranger. He's tiny, sometimes a fraction of her size, and his sole purpose is reproduction. When he finds a female, he bites into her body and fuses permanently, becoming a parasitic appendage. His organs degenerate until he's little more than a source of sperm. It's a bizarre strategy, but in the vast, dark ocean, it works. The anglerfish embodies the deep sea's weirdness, a reminder that evolution solves problems in ways we can barely imagine. Beauty and horror coexist down there, strange and perfect. The ghostly squid of the abyss. The deep sea is home to squid, unlike any found near the surface. Vampire squid, despite their name, don't drink blood. They feed on marine snow, the drifting detritus of dead organisms. Their bodies are dark, almost black, with red eyes and webbing between their arms that they can invert over themselves like a cloak. When threatened, they produce bioluminescent mucus and eject it in glowing clouds, confusing predators. Glass squid are nearly transparent, their bodies clear except for a few visible organs. They drift through mid-water zones, almost invisible. And then there are the deep-sea squid, with enormous eyes, adapted to detect the faintest bioluminescent flickers. Some have arms of unequal length. Others have bizarre appendages, whose purpose remains unknown. These squid live in a world of pressure, cold, and darkness, yet they thrive. They hunt, reproduce, and navigate with senses we're only beginning to understand. The ghostly squid of the abyss are reminders that Earth still holds mysteries, creatures so strange they seem alien. The deep-sea dragons, dragonfish, viperfish, and stoplight loosejaws. These are the dragons of the deep. They're small, rarely longer than a human hand, but they're fearsome predators. Their mouths bristle with fangs so large they can't fully close. Their bodies are dark, nearly black, absorbing what little light exists in the deep. Many produce bioluminescence, using it to lure prey or communicate. The stoplight loosejaw is particularly remarkable. It produces red bioluminescence, a color most deep-sea creatures can't see. This allows it to illuminate prey without being detected, like using night vision goggles. Its jaw is hinged in such a way that it can open incredibly wide, swallowing prey almost as large as itself. Viperfish have teeth so long they curve back toward their eyes, and they use them to impale prey. These deep-sea dragons live in a world where food is rare and every meal counts. They're efficient, ruthless, and perfectly adapted to their harsh environment. Looking at them, it's hard to believe they're fish. They seem more like nightmares given form, creatures that live in total darkness. Below about 1,000 meters, sunlight vanishes completely. This is the midnight zone, a realm of eternal darkness. Yet life persists. Creatures here have adapted in extraordinary ways. Many are blind or have reduced eyes, relying instead on other senses: touch, vibration, chemical detection. Others have enormous eyes, adapted to detect the faintest bioluminescent glimmers. Some fish have tubular eyes that point upward, scanning for silhouettes against the faint light from above. In total darkness, color becomes irrelevant. Most deep-sea creatures are black, red, or translucent. Food is scarce, so many have slow metabolisms, conserving energy between meals. Some are scavengers, feeding on the carcasses that drift down from above. Others are predators, ambushing anything that comes near. Reproduction is challenging. Finding a mate in the dark vastness is nearly impossible, which is why some species, like the anglerfish, have evolved such extreme strategies. Life in total darkness is slow, strange, and patient. It's a world that operates on different rules, where survival means waiting, sensing, and seizing rare opportunities. Life around the hydrothermal vents. In 1977, scientists exploring the deep ocean made a stunning discovery: hydrothermal vents, cracks in the seafloor, spewing superheated, mineral-rich water. Around these vents, in complete darkness and crushing pressure, entire ecosystems thrived. It was life without sunlight, something previously thought impossible. These ecosystems are powered not by photosynthesis, but by chemosynthesis. Bacteria convert chemicals like hydrogen sulfide into energy, forming the base of the food web. Giant tube worms, some over 2 meters long, anchor themselves near vents. They have no mouth or digestive system. Instead, they host chemosynthetic bacteria inside their bodies, receiving nutrients in return for shelter. Vent shrimp cluster in the thousands, grazing on bacterial mats. Blind white crabs scuttle across the rocks. The vents themselves are hostile environments, with water temperatures exceeding 400 degrees Celsius, just centimeters away from near-freezing seawater. Yet life has found a foothold. These ecosystems suggest that life can arise in the most unlikely places. They've even changed how we think about life on other planets. If life can thrive here, why not on icy moons or distant worlds? The organisms that feed on chemicals, not light. Chemosynthesis is life's alternative blueprint. Instead of using sunlight to create energy, chemosynthetic organisms use chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, methane, or ammonia. This process is carried out primarily by bacteria and archaea, microscopic organisms that form the foundation of vent and seep ecosystems. These microbes are often extremophiles, thriving in conditions that would kill most life: extreme heat, acidity, pressure. They coat rocks, form mats, and live symbiotically inside larger animals. The tube worms at hydrothermal vents depend entirely on them. So do many clams, mussels, and shrimp found at cold seeps, places where methane bubbles up from the seafloor. What's fascinating is that these ecosystems are entirely independent of the sun. If the sun disappeared tomorrow, most life on Earth would die, but vent and seep communities would continue, powered by the planet's internal heat. They're proof that life is resourceful, adaptable, and far stranger than we once imagined. The ocean holds alternative worlds, running on chemistry instead of light. The shrimp and worms of the black smokers. Black smokers are a type of hydrothermal vent that spews dark, mineral-rich water. The minerals precipitate out, forming towering chimneys that look like underwater factories. Around these chimneys, life clusters densely. Vent shrimp swarm in the thousands, crawling over rocks and each other. They have reduced eyes, but some species have light-sensitive organs on their backs, possibly detecting the faint glow of vent water. Pompeii worms live directly on the chimney walls, enduring temperatures that would cook most organisms. They're covered in filamentous bacteria that may insulate them or provide nutrients. These worms hold the record for the hottest habitat of any animal on Earth. Vent mussels and clams cluster nearby, filtering bacteria from the water. Vent crabs and octopuses prey on the smaller creatures. The ecosystem is compact, intense, and utterly dependent on the vent's output. When a vent stops flowing, the community dies or migrates. These black smoker ecosystems are transient, lasting only decades, yet they support life forms found nowhere else. They're oases in the deep, brief, and brilliant, the pressure of the deepest trenches. The ocean's deepest point is the Mariana Trench, plunging nearly 11,000 meters below the surface. At that depth, the pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. It's equivalent to having 50 jumbo jets stacked on top of you. Most materials, including human bodies, would be crushed instantly, yet life exists even there. Specially adapted fish, amphipods, and sea cucumbers have been filmed in the trench. Their bodies are designed to withstand the pressure. They lack air-filled spaces, which would collapse. Their cells are packed with molecules that prevent proteins from denaturing. They move slowly, conserving energy in an environment where food is incredibly scarce. Descending into the trench is more difficult than traveling to space. Only a handful of people have ever been there. What we know about these depths comes mostly from remotely operated vehicles. Each expedition reveals new species, new adaptations, new mysteries. The trenches are Earth's final frontier, a place where pressure, darkness, and isolation create conditions more extreme than anywhere else on the planet. Yet life persists, quietly enduring. The creatures that thrive there. In the deepest trenches, the creatures that survive are unlike anything else. Snailfish hold the record for the deepest fish ever recorded, filmed at over 8,000 meters. They're soft-bodied, almost gelatinous, with translucent skin and small eyes. They feed on tiny crustaceans that scavenge organic matter drifting down from above. Amphipods, small shrimp-like creatures, thrive in the trenches. Some grow to enormous sizes, a phenomenon called deep-sea gigantism. These amphipods are scavengers, devouring anything that reaches the bottom: dead fish, whales, even wood. Sea cucumbers crawl across the trench floor, ingesting sediment and extracting nutrients. They leave trails behind them, visible in seafloor images. Even single-celled organisms, foraminifera, live in the trenches, some growing larger than a golf ball. These creatures have evolved to endure conditions we can barely imagine. Their existence expands our understanding of life's limits. If organisms can survive in the Mariana Trench, perhaps they can survive in the subsurface oceans of Europa or Enceladus. The creatures of the deepest trenches are pioneers, proving life's tenacity. The secrets of the Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is a place of superlatives: deepest, darkest, most pressurized. Yet it's also a place of discovery. When James Cameron descended in 2012, he found a barren-looking landscape, pale and desolate, but appearances deceive. Life is there, sparse but resilient. Microbial mats cover rocks. Amphipods scuttle through sediment. Fish glide through the water column. Scientists have also found something troubling: pollution. Plastic bags and wrappers have been discovered in the trench. So have persistent organic pollutants, chemicals banned decades ago. They've sunk to the deepest place on Earth, accumulating in the tissues of trench-dwelling creatures. It's a sobering reminder that no place is untouched by human activity. The Mariana Trench also holds geological secrets. It's a subduction zone, where one tectonic plate slides beneath another. This process recycles Earth's crust and may play a role in regulating the planet's climate. The trench is a window into Earth's interior, a place where geology and biology intersect in extreme and fascinating ways. The slow pace of deep-sea life. In the deep sea, everything moves slowly. Food is scarce. Energy must be conserved. Fish drift rather than swim. Predators wait, motionless, for prey to come to them. Reproduction is infrequent. Growth is slow. Some deep-sea sharks take decades to reach maturity. Orange ruffy, a commercial fish species, can live over 100 years. Tube worms at hydrothermal vents can live for centuries. This slow pace makes deep-sea ecosystems incredibly vulnerable. If a population is depleted, recovery takes generations. Deep-sea mining, trawling, and climate change threaten communities that have existed for millennia. There's a stillness to the deep, a patience. It's a world that operates on geological timescales. where change happens slowly and disturbance echoes for decades. Understanding this pace is crucial for conservation. We can't treat the deep sea like shallow waters, where populations rebound quickly. The deep requires respect, caution, and a long-term perspective. Its creatures have survived for millions of years. Our challenge is ensuring they survive millions more. The gigantism of the abyss. In the deep sea, some animals grow to extraordinary sizes. This phenomenon, called deep-sea gigantism, is seen in squid, isopods, amphipods, and even jellyfish. The colossal squid, found in Antarctic waters, can reach lengths of 12 to 14 meters. Giant isopods, relatives of pillbugs, can grow over 40 centimeters long. Spider crabs in Japan have leg spans exceeding 3 meters. Scientists aren't entirely sure why gigantism occurs. One theory is Bergmann's rule. In cold environments, larger bodies retain heat better. Another is that food scarcity favors larger individuals who can go longer without eating. Longer lifespans in the deep also allow more time for growth. Whatever the reason, encountering these giants is surreal. They look like creatures from another planet, scaled up beyond reason. Giant squid battles with sperm whales are the stuff of legend, real-life monsters clashing in the dark. These creatures remind us that size isn't limited by what we see on land. The ocean holds giants we've barely begun to document. The mystery of deep-sea jellyfish. Deep-sea jellyfish are among the most alien-looking creatures in the ocean. Many have long, delicate tentacles that trail for meters, sweeping through the water like living nets. Some are bioluminescent, glowing in reds, blues, and greens. Others are nearly transparent, visible only when caught in a submersible's lights. The bloody bellycomb jelly has a deep red stomach that hides the bioluminescent prey it consumes, preventing light from giving away its position. The lion's mane jellyfish, though found in shallow waters too, reaches its largest size in the cold depths. Deep-sea jellyfish drift through mid-water zones, their tentacles detecting the slightest vibrations. They're efficient predators, capturing fish, crustaceans, and even other jellyfish. Because they're fragile, many species have never been brought to the surface intact. What we know comes from footage captured by remotely operated vehicles. Each dive reveals new species, new forms, new mysteries. Deep-sea jellyfish are ghosts drifting through the abyss, beautiful and untouchable, reminders of how much remains unknown. The discovery of the giant squid. For centuries, giant squid were legend. Sailors spoke of kraken, enormous tentacled monsters that could drag ships beneath the waves. Scientists dismissed these as myth. But then, bodies began washing ashore. Tentacles, beaks, and partial carcasses proved that giant squid were real. Still, no one had seen one alive. It wasn't until 2004 that Japanese researchers captured the first photographs of a live giant squid in its natural habitat, nearly 1,000 meters deep. The images were grainy, but stunning. In 2012, the first video footage was recorded. The squid was massive, curious, and surprisingly graceful. Since then, more encounters have been documented, but giant squid remain elusive. They live in deep waters, rarely venturing near the surface. Their eyes, the largest in the animal kingdom, are adapted to detect the faint silhouettes of prey and predators. Sperm whales hunt them, diving to great depths and battling in darkness. Scars on whales tell stories of these encounters, circular marks left by squid suckers. The giant squid is no longer myth, but it remains mysterious, a creature of the deep we're only beginning to understand. The ancient coelacanth returns. In 1938, a strange fish was caught off the coast of South Africa. It was a coelacanth, a species thought to have gone extinct with the dinosaurs. Its discovery stunned the scientific world. Coelacanths are living fossils, virtually unchanged, for over 400 million years. They belong to an ancient lineage of lobe-finned fish, relatives of the animals that first crawled onto land. Their fins have fleshy bases with bones inside, resembling limbs more than fins. They move them in an alternating pattern, almost like walking. Coelacanths live in deep, rocky caves, emerging at night to hunt. They give birth to live young, a rarity among fish. Their slow metabolism and deep habitat have allowed them to persist, hidden from humanity, for millions of years. Since the first discovery, more populations have been found in the Indian Ocean. They're critically endangered, with only a few thousand individuals remaining. The coelacanths is a bridge to the past, a reminder that evolution doesn't always mean change. Sometimes, a design is so successful, it needs no improvement. The ancient coelacanth endures, the adaptations that defy imagination. The ocean is a showcase of evolutionary ingenuity. Antifreeze proteins in Antarctic fish prevent ice crystals from forming in their blood. Hagfish produce slime so copious it can clog a predator's gills in seconds. Archerfish shoot jets of water to knock insects off overhanging branches. Pistol shrimp snap their claws so fast they create a cavitation bubble that stuns prey with a shockwave. Remoras have suction cups on their heads, allowing them to hitch rides on sharks and whales. Sawfish have elongated snouts lined with teeth, which they swing like weapons to stun prey. Hammerhead sharks have wide, flattened heads, packed with electroreceptors, scanning the seafloor for buried prey. Mantis shrimp have the most complex eyes in the animal kingdom, able to see polarized light and colors humans can't even imagine. They also punch with the force of a bullet. Each adaptation is a solution to a problem, refined over millions of years. The ocean has tested life in every conceivable way, and life has responded with creativity, resilience, and endless variation. The adaptations are proof that evolution is an artist, and the ocean is its masterpiece. The creatures of the polar oceans. The polar seas, both north and south, are among the most productive in the world. Cold water holds more oxygen and nutrients than warm water, fueling explosive blooms of plankton each spring and summer. These blooms feed krill, which in turn feed fish, seabirds, seals, and whales. The Antarctic krill is a keystone species, small but essential. Millions of tons of krill swarm in Antarctic waters, supporting the entire ecosystem. Predators time their migrations to coincide with krill abundance. Humpback, blue, and fin whales travel thousands of kilometers to feast. Penguins dive repeatedly, filling their stomachs to feed their chicks. In the Arctic, cod, herring, and capelin fill similar roles. Walruses forage on the seafloor for clams and mussels. Beluga whales hunt fish beneath the ice. Narwhals, with their iconic spiral tusks, dive deep into icy waters. Polar seas are seasonal, their abundance tied to the rhythm of ice and light. They're fragile, sensitive to warming temperatures and melting ice. As the climate changes, these ecosystems face uncertain futures. The creatures of the polar oceans remind us how interconnected life is and how quickly balance can shift. The colors hidden beneath the ice. Beneath the polar ice, the ocean is not gray and lifeless. It's surprisingly colorful. Sea stars in brilliant reds, oranges, and purples cling to rocks. Soft corals and anemones sway in the current, their tentacles catching drifting food. Nudibranchs, even in freezing waters, display their usual vibrant patterns. Fish like the icefish have transparent blood, lacking red hemoglobin, yet they thrive in the cold. The seafloor is carpeted with sponges, some growing incredibly slowly, adding just millimeters per year. These ancient organisms can live for centuries, silent witnesses to the changing ice above. In summer, when the ice melts and light penetrates, algae bloom on the underside of ice sheets, turning them green and brown. This ice algae feeds krill and other grazers, forming a unique habitat found nowhere else. Scientists diving beneath polar ice describe it as surreal, a hidden garden thriving in one of Earth's harshest environments. The colors are muted by the blue-green light, filtering through ice and water, but they're there, proof that life doesn't just endure the cold, it flourishes in it. The polar seas hold beauty we rarely see, hidden beneath layers of ice, waiting patiently for those willing to look. The penguins of the South. Penguins are the icons of Antarctica, flightless birds, perfectly adapted to life in and around the sea. They're awkward on land, waddling comically across ice. But in the water, they transform into graceful torpedoes. Emperor penguins can dive over 500 meters deep and hold their breath for more than 20 minutes, hunting fish and squid in the dark. Their bodies are streamlined, their wings modified into flippers that propel them through water with incredible speed. Penguins breed in some of the harshest conditions on Earth. Emperor penguins lay their eggs in the middle of winter, enduring months of darkness and temperatures below -40 degrees. The males incubate the eggs on their feet, huddled together for warmth, while females travel to the sea to feed. When they return, they must find their mate and chick among thousands. Using unique calls, Adelie penguins nest on rocky shores, returning to the same sites year after year. Gen 2 penguins are the fastest swimmers, reaching speeds of 36 kilometers per hour. Watching penguins is endlessly entertaining, but it's also humbling. They thrive where we would perish. The narwhals and belugas of the north. The Arctic has its own unique whales. Narwhals are famous for their long spiraled tusks, which are actually elongated teeth. Males have the longest tusks, sometimes reaching 3 meters. Scientists once thought the tusk was used for fighting, but recent research suggests it's a sensory organ, detecting changes in water temperature, pressure, and salinity. Narwhals travel in groups called pods, navigating ice-choked waters with precision. They're deep divers, hunting halibut and other fish near the seafloor. Belugas, the canaries of the sea, are highly vocal, producing a wide range of clicks, whistles, and chirps. They're social, gathering in large groups during summer migrations. Their white coloration provides camouflage among ice floes. Belugas are also highly flexible, able to turn their heads independently of their bodies. Unlike most whales, both species are adapted to life in ice. They're skilled at navigating narrow leads and breathing through small holes. But as Arctic ice diminishes, their habitat is changing. These whales evolved over millennia to thrive in ice. Without it, their future is uncertain. The connection between sea and sky. The ocean and atmosphere are deeply connected. The ocean absorbs heat from the sun, distributing it around the planet through currents. It also absorbs carbon dioxide, acting as a buffer against climate change. Phytoplankton produce oxygen, which rises into the atmosphere. Water evaporates from the ocean's surface, forming clouds that travel over land and fall as rain. The ocean drives weather patterns, from gentle breezes to hurricanes. El Niño and La Niña, shifts in Pacific Ocean temperatures, affect weather worldwide. The ocean is Earth's thermostat, moderating temperatures and maintaining balance. But it's also vulnerable. As it absorbs more heat and carbon, it warms and acidifies. This disrupts the delicate systems that sustain marine life. Coral reefs bleach. Shell-forming organisms struggle. The connection between sea and sky is ancient, but it's being tested by rapid change. Understanding this connection is crucial. The health of the ocean determines the health of the atmosphere, and both determine the future of life on Earth. They're not separate systems. They're one, breathing together. How sea creatures shape the planet. Marine life doesn't just inhabit the ocean, it shapes it. Coral reefs protect coastlines from erosion and storms. Mangrove forests, rooted in salt water, filter pollutants and provide nurseries for fish. Seagrass meadows stabilize sediment and sequester carbon. Whales, through their feces, fertilize surface waters, supporting plankton blooms. These blooms absorb carbon dioxide, helping regulate climate. When whales die, their bodies sink to the deep sea, delivering nutrients to organisms that would otherwise starve. Shellfish filter water, improving clarity and quality. Fish migrate between ecosystems, transporting nutrients. Even tiny plankton, through their life and death, drive the biological pump that moves carbon from the atmosphere to the deep ocean. Marine creatures are ecosystem engineers, building, maintaining, and transforming their environments. They're not passive inhabitants. They're active participants in planetary processes. Recognizing this changes how we view the ocean. It's not just a resource to exploit. It's a living system maintained by the creatures within it. Protecting sea life means protecting the ocean's ability to function, and that means protecting ourselves. The role of the oceans in life on Earth. The ocean is not just important, it's essential. It produces over half the oxygen we breathe. It regulates global temperature. It provides food for billions of people. It absorbs about 30% of the carbon dioxide we emit, slowing climate change. The ocean is Earth's life support system. Without it, the planet would be uninhabitable. Yet we often take it for granted. We treat it as infinite, indestructible, but it's neither. The ocean is vast, but it's also vulnerable. Overfishing depletes stocks faster than they can recover. Pollution chokes marine life. Warming waters disrupt ecosystems that have existed for millennia. The ocean has absorbed much of humanity's impact, but there are limits. Already, we're seeing the consequences: dying reefs, collapsing fisheries, acidifying waters. The ocean has sustained life on Earth for billions of years. Now, it needs us to sustain it. The choices we make today will determine not just the future of the ocean, but the future of all life on this planet. The ocean's role is irreplaceable. Our responsibility is clear. The balance between predator and prey. In the ocean, balance is everything. Predators keep prey populations in check. Prey keep predators sharp and healthy. When this balance tips, ecosystems collapse, remove sharks, and mid-level predators explode in number, decimating smaller fish. Remove herbivorous fish, and algae overgrow coral, smothering reefs. The balance isn't static. It shifts and adjusts constantly, but it has boundaries. Push too far, and the system breaks. Humans have become the ultimate disruptor. We fish out top predators. We introduce invasive species. We alter habitats. The ocean is resilient, but resilience has limits. Restoring balance requires action. Protecting predators, establishing marine reserves, reducing bycatch, managing fisheries sustainably. It also requires humility. We're part of this system, not separate from it. Our survival depends on the ocean's health. The balance between predator and prey is ancient, refined over millions of years. It's a testament to evolution's wisdom. Breaking it is easy, restoring it is hard, but it's necessary. The ocean taught life how to balance. Now we must learn that lesson too. The fragility of marine ecosystems. Marine ecosystems may seem vast and powerful, but they're surprisingly fragile. Coral reefs, despite their beauty and productivity, are sensitive to temperature changes of just 1 or 2 degrees. Kelp forests can be wiped out by sea urchin outbreaks. Fish populations can collapse from overfishing in a single generation. The interconnectedness that makes ecosystems resilient also makes them vulnerable. Remove one species, and the effects ripple outward. Seagrass meadows die when water becomes too murky. Mangroves disappear when coastlines are developed. Deep sea ecosystems, once disturbed, may take centuries to recover. The fragility isn't a weakness, it's a product of specialization and balance. Each species has evolved to fit a specific niche, and when conditions change rapidly, adaptation can't keep pace. Climate change, pollution, and habitat destruction are happening faster than evolution can respond. The ocean's ecosystems are ancient, but they're not invincible. They need time, space, and protection. Recognizing their fragility is the first step toward preserving them. What seems permanent can vanish quickly. What's lost may never return. The threats from plastic and pollution. The ocean is filling with plastic. Every year, millions of tons enter the water, breaking down into smaller and smaller pieces, but never truly disappearing. Microplastics are now found in every corner of the ocean, from surface waters to the deepest trenches. Marine animals mistake plastic for food. Sea turtles eat plastic bags, thinking they're jellyfish. Seabirds feed plastic to their chicks. Fish ingest microplastics, which then enter the human food chain. Plastic isn't the only pollutant. Chemical runoff from agriculture creates dead zones, areas so depleted of oxygen that nothing can live. Oil spills smother marine life. Heavy metals accumulate in tissues, poisoning predators at the top of the food chain. Noise pollution from ships disrupts whale communication. The ocean has become a dumping ground, and the creatures within it are paying the price. But solutions exist: reducing plastic use, improving waste management, regulating pollution, and cleaning up existing debris can all make a difference. The ocean doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be healthier, and that starts with us taking responsibility for what we've put into it. The changing oceans of the future. The ocean is changing faster than at any time in human history. It's warming, absorbing heat from the atmosphere, and expanding. Sea levels are rising, threatening coastal communities. Ocean chemistry is shifting. As the water absorbs more carbon dioxide, it becomes more acidic, making it harder for creatures with shells and skeletons to survive. Currents are slowing and shifting, altering the distribution of nutrients and heat. Species are migrating toward the poles, seeking cooler waters. Some are adapting, others are disappearing. Coral reefs, already stressed, face an uncertain future. Fisheries are shifting, forcing communities to adapt or face economic collapse. The changes are interconnected, complex, and accelerating. Predicting the future is difficult, but scientists agree if current trends continue, the ocean of 2100 will be unrecognizable. But the future isn't fixed. Action today can change outcomes tomorrow. Reducing emissions, protecting habitats, and managing resources sustainably can help the ocean adapt. The ocean has survived ice ages and asteroid impacts. It's resilient, but it needs time, and it needs us to stop making things worse. The efforts to protect sea life. Around the world, people are working to protect the ocean. Marine protected areas, where fishing and development are restricted, allow ecosystems to recover. Coral restoration projects grow and transplant corals, helping reefs rebuild. Fishing regulations, when enforced, allow stocks to rebound. Cleanup initiatives remove plastic from beaches and waters. Bans on single-use plastics reduce new pollution. Scientists monitor populations, track migrations, and study threats. Conservationists advocate for policy changes. Communities shift towards sustainable practices. These efforts are making a difference. In some areas, fish populations are recovering, reefs are stabilizing, sea turtle numbers are increasing. But the scale of the problem requires more. It requires global cooperation, long-term commitment, and the will to prioritize the ocean over short-term profits. Protecting sea life isn't just an environmental issue, it's an economic, social, and moral one. The ocean sustains us. Protecting it is protecting ourselves. The efforts underway are hopeful, but they're not enough yet. The ocean needs more voices, more action, more urgency. The time to act is now. The wonders still waiting to be found. Despite centuries of exploration, the ocean remains largely unknown. We've mapped less than 20% of the seafloor in detail. Every deep-sea expedition discovers new species, entire ecosystems, like hydrothermal vents and cold seeps, were unknown until recently. The ocean holds mysteries we haven't even thought to ask about yet. There may be giant creatures in the deep we've never seen. There are certainly thousands, perhaps millions, of species yet to be described. New behaviors, new adaptations, new relationships are waiting to be discovered. Technology is improving. Submersibles dive deeper. Cameras capture clearer images. Genetic tools reveal hidden diversity. But the ocean is vast, and our resources are limited. Every expedition is a glimpse, a snapshot of a world in motion. The wonders waiting to be found aren't just scientific curiosities, they're potential sources of medicine, inspiration, and understanding. The ocean has always been a frontier, and it always will be. There's comfort in that. No matter how much we learn, there will always be more to discover. The ocean keeps its secrets, and that makes it endlessly fascinating. The endless mystery of the deep blue. The ocean is a place of endless mystery. It's the largest habitat on Earth, covering most of the planet, yet it remains the least explored. Every answer leads to new questions. Why do whales sing? How do eels navigate thousands of kilometers to spawn? What lies in the deepest trenches? How many species remain undiscovered? The ocean invites curiosity. It rewards patience. It humbles those who study it. There's something meditative about the deep blue, something that quiets the mind and stirs the imagination. It's been the same for millennia. Humans standing at the shore, gazing outward, wondering what lies beneath. The ocean is ancient, powerful, and alive. It shaped us, nurtured us, and continues to sustain us, yet it asks for nothing in return except respect. As you drift towards sleep tonight, think of the ocean. Think of the creatures moving through its depths, the currents carrying nutrients across continents, the waves rolling endlessly toward shore. The ocean is always there, always moving, always mysterious. And in that mystery, there's peace. Good night.